Hello everyone. Good morning. Great day. It's really nice and sunny. And this is a work day, right? But a great day. It's really good to see everyone. My name is Thomas Queen and I'm the CEO of Mission First Housing Group. Really happy to have you all here today to celebrate a initiative and idea that's been in the works for a long time. This project here for Patuxent Commons is just the culmination of a lot of guts and energy and commitment. I've been with the company for 2.5 years. When I became aware that Patuxent Commons was in the works, in the pipeline, so to speak, I was just really excited by the prospect of having such a community where we are able to have a combination of residents, disabled, market rate, affordable, and seniors all together in a community. So we still have a lot of work ahead of us because it's all about making a community. Mission First Housing Group started in Philadelphia about 36 years ago. We started as a solution by way of a grant from Robert Wood Johnson, HUD, and the City of Philadelphia to come up with a solution to provide housing for those with disabilities. So we've grown from a company that was started in Philadelphia. Now we're a Mid-Atlantic provider of affordable housing. We develop, we build, and we manage. And we also provide residential services and support. So we're as far south as DC, we're as far west as York County on the western shore of Susquehanna, and we're as far north as Edison, New Jersey, and the upper part of Pennsylvania. And we're also in Delaware. So we are committed to affordable housing. We're also committed to making communities and making a difference. My team is a great and wonderful team. They're going to be before you in a moment. They've been led by Sarah and Elizabeth and Chris and the folks who are really also committed. But all of you, many of you I've met on other occasions and other groundbreakings, and of course, nothing like a ribbon cutting, which is in our future. So that's really been really important to us. We really appreciate the partnership that we've had with the Autism Society. It's just been wonderful. My job, my role, as I've been told, is to certainly introduce Mark Dunham. And Mark is, I'm going to talk about Mark, because every time I've met Mark, and as I mentioned, I've been with the company for about 2.5 years, but every time I'm in a room with Mark, he comes right to me and he says, hey, we're all in, right? We're going to do this, right? We're going to make this happen, right? So he's just been a great advocate for the program, great advocate for this combination of bringing everyone together. He's a principal at Kindred. My job is to introduce him, but I also just want to say again, thank you for every one of you who have been a part of this. Those of you who are a part of the federal officials who have helped us, the local officials, county and state, is really critical, is really important. This type of work cannot occur, cannot take place unless all of us are working together. And I think we really have found our rhythm when it comes to the kind of work, this kind of work. We hope this is the beginning of more, and we really want to make a difference. So with that, I'm going to introduce Mark Dunham. Mark.
Thank you, Thomas. It's a pleasure to be with you and the great Mission First team this morning, and certainly my friends from the Autism Society of Maryland. Awesome. My name is Mark Dunham, and for the last 8 years, it's been my privilege to have worked with Awesome, and for the last 5 years with Mission First on this initiative. Looking around this marvelous group, I see a lot of faces of folks who've been involved in a myriad of ways in getting this project moving. And I wish I could thank all of you by name. Probably have a little story to tell about your involvement that would make you laugh or even grimace. It's not always been easy, but we certainly have made some progress, and it's exciting to be where we are today. And you know who you are. Many of you in the audience have also reached out to me over the years through the website. I saw a number of names on the guest list of folks I've had almost pen pal relationships with. Parents care deeply, those with family members and loved ones who have an interest in this project, and your advocacy for it has been really inspirational to all of us who've been involved. So thank you for staying on it, sign up for continued project updates on the new Mission First website for the project so you can be kept abreast of what's going on, because that's really important. And say hello to me later, because I'd love to shake your hand and meet you, those of you I've not yet met. This has been a real highlight of my professional career, and we still have much work to do, as Thomas said, but it's been great. And on a personal level, I've made a lot of friends out of the process. You know, it's a real privilege to be sitting at the nexus of two high-performing nonprofit organizations like the Autism Society and Mission First, and to see their respective missions come together. I've learned a lot. Many of you here have mentored me and taught me a lot that I didn't know, and I'm still learning. But I greatly appreciate that. Cynthia Schwans, who's an awesome member, came up to me 9 years ago, and one day after church said, "Mark, I hear you're involved in intergenerational housing work. Have you ever thought about doing something like this for people with disabilities?" And I said, "I don't really have a lot of experience with disabilities. It can be complex housing. I'm happy to come talk with your group, then known as the Howard County Autism Society, about this. But you know, I'm probably not your expert." And I wasn't expert, but we learned a lot together. And Cynthia's son, Johnny, was the inspiration for that conversation. So the opportunity to work with parents who are so dedicated and so convinced that there are better ways to do things, and we've got to put our shoulder into it and figure it out, has been just an extraordinary gift to me. So thank you all for teaching me. Continue teaching, because there's lots of lessons still to learn as we move forward, but I'm greatly appreciative. And it is my honor to now actually introduce you to some of those fine folks from Awesome who have played such an instrumental role in getting this concept up and off the ground. And the first one I'd like to bring up to the podium is my friend Matthew Plants. Good morning, Matthew. Now, Matthew doesn't need much of an introduction. He really doesn't. But I will just tell you that he is a member of the board of the Autism Society. He's been a stalwart member of the Housing Task Force that was created along with the Housing Committee that launched this project. And he's also become a good friend. So, and interestingly, Matthew and I represent 2 of the 3 target populations for Patuxent Commons. As a self-advocate and person with disabilities, you know, this project's for you. As an increasingly older guy, now 61 years old, I belong in that older adult category. And you know, maybe there'll be a place here for us. I don't know. Roommates? Maybe. I don't know. I may want to ask my husband about that. But Matthew, you've been such a great communicator and advocate for this project from the get-go. And you've always been so articulate in sharing why it's so important. So say a word about that. Why is a project like this so important?
Because, folks, we are coming out of a time of people with disabilities where they were very much marginalized and not taken the request for housing was not taken seriously. And we are coming out of the dark ages with this project. And this is not only a Howard County project, but this is a project that needs to be done nationwide, because right now we are terribly short of housing for people with disabilities all over this country.
And particularly, this is a guy you want on your advocacy team, I can assure you. And Matthew, when you think ahead, when a beautiful community is built on this site, the doors open, the people start moving in, and 2, 3, 4 years down the road, what's your vision for the kind of community that's going to spring up here?
The vision for the community is just neighbors helping neighbors. Like the golden rule says, it says, treat people as you would want to be treated, and I believe this is the way people with disabilities and seniors and families would want to be treated.
Right on. Anything else?
Well, I think that this project is just, I cannot wait to see what this is going to do for the rest of the nation. The federal government, the state, and the local help that made this possible. It could be a mirror for the whole nation, and I just can't wait for that.
I'd now like to introduce my friend and colleague, Melissa Rosenberg, who is the Executive Director of the Autism Society of Maryland.
It's always hard to follow Matthew, in a good way. Thank you all for being here today. I'm so proud. I'm glad you teared up too. You know I'm a crier, but it's really just such an amazing day today to be here with all of you and celebrate this project. It started as an idea, a need, a concern, and became a 12-year journey undertaken by autism parents in our community, worried about the future of their children when they are no longer around to care for them. Those children are now adults in their 20s and 30s and 40s. And this project has engaged hundreds of family members, self-advocates, seniors, government officials, funders, housing experts, and community members on its way to finally putting a shovel in the ground today. It speaks to inclusion and connection through the generations with a focus on affordable housing options. To all of you who wrote letters, emails, testified, attended meetings, shared expertise and suggestions, if you donated $1 or if you donated $1 million, thank you. We would not be here today without you. I want to also thank our parent visionaries. Many of them are here today. This is such a celebration of their commitment to creative solutions. Our self-advocates like Matthew and others who provided a crucial perspective. Our board members, and many of them are here today, who ensured the project was funded during those early years. Our incredible staff, our amazing, amazing partners at Mission First Housing, Mosley Architects, Harkin Builders, and others, Peter and his team at the Howard County Housing Commission, our visionary Howard County government, Howard County delegation, the support from federal champions like Senators Van Hollen, Cardin, Representative Sarbanes, and so many others. I see Kelly sitting here. I could just go on and on. You really, gone to the mat for all of us. We would not have gotten here, though, without the guidance of Mark Dunham. And his positive outlook and commitment kept us all moving when things got tough, and with a belief that one day it would happen. And here we are. So I hope you all will drive by this over the coming 18 months with a great deal of pride. And thank you so much. And I want to welcome one of those parent visionaries, Teresa Ballinger, to join us.
Hi, everybody. As Melissa said, I'm Teresa Ballinger. I'm on the Awesome Board. I'm the chair of the Housing Committee Task Force, and I'm a member of the Autism Society's Housing Committee that all helped to drive the planning of this extraordinary project. And perhaps most important, I'm the mother of Trey, a young adult with autism who is the reason why I'm here. Trey's 27, and I can't believe it's been 6 years now that he exited Wild Lake High School and the Howard County Public School System. Trey has spent his entire life in this wonderful community. My husband Bob and I chose to raise our family in Howard County and call Columbia's village of Dorsey Search our home. I grew up in Ellicott City and wanted to continue to live in this special community. Trey and his peers with autism and other disabilities gift parents like me many things. They make us feel pride in the extraordinary, unique people they are. And in the case of Patuxent Commons, they've inspired me and my fellow parents here today to think differently about housing, about community, and about the kinds of lives people with disabilities should have the right to live. And that's what led us to this site on this day and created the palpable excitement we all feel. It's been quite a journey over the last 12 years when autism parents in our community repeatedly voiced concerns about the future of their children and where they might live when they no longer are around to care for them, which in turn led to a 2014 grant from the Maryland Developmental Disabilities Council to create housing opportunities for individuals with autism and other developmental disabilities. Armed with that information and research, the Autism Society's Housing Committee engaged Mark Dunham to move our model forward, which serves not only people with disabilities, but also older adults who can also be marginalized and socially isolated. In 2017, we established our Housing Task Force of experts to guide issuance of the Patuxent Commons prospectus and ultimately the selection of our wonderful development partner, Mission First, in 2019. And while all of this while all of us wish this groundbreaking day would have come much earlier, it's very fitting that we're breaking ground for Patuxent Commons in the year 2024. As many of you know, this marks the 25th anniversary of the U.S. Supreme Court's landmark Olmstead decision, which ruled that unjustified segregation of people with disabilities is a form of unlawful discrimination under the Americans with Disabilities Act. By requiring that people with disabilities receive services in the most integrated, appropriate settings, Olmstead expedited the transition of tens of thousands of individuals from institutions into community living. Yet, while the promise of Olmstead remains inspiring, the reality is that adults with disabilities in Howard County, throughout Maryland, and throughout the nation, as Matthew said, face chronic challenges in securing affordable, inclusive housing that will allow them to live and fully participate in their communities. That's why we need Patuxent Commons. We need many, many more Patuxent Commons. But first, we need to make sure that this project achieves its full potential. And we still have work to do. Under the leadership of Mission First, with the help of our friends at Harkins Builders and the Mosley Design, we can be certain that a beautifully designed, accessible building will be here on this site. But our vision has been for something more than just a building. We want this to be a real community where people thrive. And we know that won't happen automatically. Community needs to be fed, nurtured, and even facilitated. This will require an orchestration of programming, staffing, and services. It will take intention, hard work, and willingness to evaluate and improve and share what we learn. But Awesome is committed to doing all of this in partnership with our wonderful partner, Mission First, and make this happen. Today is a memorable day when we are breaking ground on a genuinely groundbreaking project, but now we have more work to do. Onward and upward to the ribbon cutting. Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa. We've got some wonderful friends of the project here today, some elected officials and staff to some very committed elected officials. Some are going to be speaking, which I'll introduce them shortly. Also want to make note of the presence of Delegate Pam Gazzoni, who is here with us today. Thank you, Delegate Gazzoni. June Zhao from Senator Ben Cardin's office. Is June with us? There's June. Thank you for being with us, June. And Hunter Craig from Congressman John Sarbanes' office. There's Hunter. Thank you. If there are any other elected officials here that are not up here speaking, can you raise your hand because we'd love to recognize you. Anybody else or staff? Alrighty, thanks very much. And without further ado, I want to introduce Catherine Provost, who is the Director of Constituent Services for Senator Christopher Van Hollen. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mark. It's such an honor to be here today. I'm a Columbia resident, and I've passed this site, and it's a real honor to be here on behalf of Senator Van Hollen to be part of this groundbreaking today. The senator is very sorry that he can't be here himself, but felt it important that everyone know that we've been watching, that we support you, and that he would be here if he could be. I also wanted to just take a moment, Ms. Zhao from Senator Cardin's office, she is part of his appropriation staff and was part of the team to ensure that the federal funding that's going into the project was procured. So I wanted to make special recognition to June and to Senator Cardin's staff in that way. Senator Van Hollen is very proud to support this project through federal funding and in spirit. We too are very eager to watch and see what happens with this incredible project and hope that it inspires so many others to do the same and to take up the cause and to make sure that other locations like Patuxent Commons become a reality and take us, Matt, out of the dark ages. There's so many folks that came into this project: the Howard County Housing Commission, the Harry and Jeanette Weinberg Foundation, the people of Howard County, and so many other partners. But I'm here today on behalf of Senator Van Hollen to present a congressional citation to the Autism Society of Maryland and to Mission First Housing Group for today's groundbreaking. So if I could ask Thomas Queenan, CEO of Mission First, and Melissa from Awesome, if you could please join me up here. You'll be happy to know Senator Van Hollen likes to keep his citations a little brief. This citation is presented to the Autism Society of Maryland and Mission First Housing Group in celebration of the groundbreaking of Patuxent Commons, in recognition of the collective tireless efforts to expand opportunities and provide affordable housing for people with disabilities, and with deep appreciation for your determination and leadership in executing this innovative project to address the needs of our communities, and with sincere wishes for its success. Signed today by Senator Chris Van Hollen.
Thank you, Catherine. As a member of the Senate Appropriations Committee that funds the Department of Housing and Urban Development, we're particularly excited about the Senator's support for this project, and we really are intentional about wanting to maximize and optimize the opportunity for efforts like this to actually have an impact in the policy realm. So we're particularly appreciative of his leadership and his role at the highest levels of our government in housing policy. Also, it's my pleasure to introduce Senator Guy Gazzoni, a longtime supporter of the project, not only the chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, which is a very influential position in Maryland, but also a real committed effort, a committed supporter of the Autism Society for many years. So,
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. This is a special day, we all know. It's hard to follow this whole crowd. They're all terrific. I don't know what else there needs to be said. We have opportunities. I'm just a budget guy, right? Just numbers. I'm going to actually read a couple numbers. I mean, I rarely do that, but I want to on this project. But this is the kind of project that's an easy do, at least in my mind. It's an easy do because, I know it wasn't easy. I know it wasn't easy. I mean, it's an easy do to support. And it says something about who we are as a people. And that's what I think about every day when I'm working on the budget. What is it that we use this money, all of your money, your tax dollars? How do we come together using that to do the things that are most important in our society? You know, there's been a number of folks who've commented about that we need more of these. Of course we need more of these all across the nation. And wouldn't it be a great thing that it would be contagious? That people would see this and just know that this is right? And can you imagine in communities all across the country, folks seeing this, coming together? You know, we got so many issues in our society right now. But this is the kind of thing that should pull us all together. it did here. It was extraordinary. I was trying to remember how many years ago it was, 12, 13 years ago, when I got a call from a couple of my neighbors who were parents, part of the Autism Society. And they said, we should do this. And I thought, yeah, we should. And it was hard. But there's been commitment, right? From so many people in so many ways. And I'm just, I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to be in the position that I'm in. Our delegation, the elected officials, everybody just knew that this was right. And that's a great thing. We are going to make this contagious. I want this in every community, in Maryland first, but all across the country. But it did take a lot. And I'm just going to read this real quick because I just think it's interesting because it takes a lot. There was nearly $23 million in short-term tax-exempt bond funding from Maryland, $3.5 million from the rental housing program, $1.8 million in legislative bond initiatives, $1.3 million from the Department of Health, and then all the other stuff that everybody else did. It's extraordinary, but right. And I'm just happy to play the role in it. Next up, and I'm going to steal, you probably need to introduce her, but Delegate Feldmark, our whole delegation's been terrific, but she's been on top of this every year, every day, and been pounding on my head about the next thing we need, the next dollar we need. Dollars reflect what we care about. This is what we care about. We need to keep caring about it. Thanks to everyone who's been involved in this. This is extraordinary and important. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Delegate Jessica Feldmark, the official nag of the, in the state delegation to keep advocating for funding for this project. And I am just overwhelmed with joy to be here celebrating today. This has been a long time coming. And as Senator Gazzoni said, you know, as I've been listening to the speakers, most of what I wanted to say about today has already been touched on. So I'm just going to focus on 2 points. One is how special it is to me as a Columbia resident that this project is happening here in Columbia. You know, when we think about the founding principles of this community for diversity and inclusion. Jim Rouse was in a lot of ways ahead of his time, and 50 some years later, we also know that we can do better on those values, right? That we can be more inclusive and have a better approach to achieving that vision. And so I think, as Matthew said, right, this should be and will be a national model, right? And I hope that part of what is a national model is the way we as Howard County came together in this project, right? We are not unique in the challenges we face. We are unique in how we come together to take them on. Right, how we rise to meet them. And this is just a perfect example of that, and just so proud to be a small part of it. The other point I wanted to just touch on is many of us were gathered together just a few days ago for the Autism Walk, right? And the theme of the walk, or the motto, is every step counts. And this year, coming to the walk, seeing every step counts on the signs, and knowing that this groundbreaking was on my calendar, right, it took on new meaning, right? When we think about the length of the journey it took to get here, right? The persistence, the perseverance, the passion, right? The unwavering dedication to this vision, and the love that kept everyone going, right? And it's just an ongoing journey, and we are here to celebrate that we finally, well, it's not done yet, but got this done. It will be done, right? And the journey continues, because we know as soon as we cut the ribbon, those units are going to be filled, and there's going to be a waiting list, and we need more. And so we have to, I think, celebrate, feel all the good feelings, get all that positive energy, because we need it to sustain us to keep going. And I will be there by your side as we keep going every step of the way. So thank you.
It's great to have a delegate who does the nagging for you, and you don't have to nag them. Jessica and certainly Budget Chairman Gazzoni have been absolutely by our side throughout all of this, and the state has played a remarkably important role here. At the county level is really where the genesis for Patuxent Commons happened, and not only with the parents in the room, but others. And the people of Howard County have been absolutely indispensable to making this project happen. Some with connections to autism and disability, others who are not. But we're very fortunate to have just great leadership. The representatives from the Department of Aging, or the Office of Aging, were at our very first planning session. Kelly Simoneau, our great friend from the Department of Housing and Community Development, was at an initial salon over in Columbia at Beverly White Seal's home. This was back in 2017, folks. They've been at this. So the role of the county at every level has been super important. And Christiana Rigby has been leading the charge for us. The council member we've been able to rely on consistently to champion this cause, and we just can't thank you enough, and very pleased you're here and can share some remarks with us.
Thank you. Well, and I have to say, it really took advocacy at every single level of government. And I hope that you heard that today, from the federal level to both elements in our state and also at the county. And I'd like to take just a minute. If you can just look around. Just look around at all the people who are here. Look at the people next to you. Look at the people behind you. Look at the people who don't even have seats because they couldn't even fit in this tent. We didn't have a tent big enough for all the people. Then I want you to look at the back of your program. And these are organizations. So every line is actually representative of many more people. Because it really took so many people coming together to make this happen. I cannot even stress this enough. But again, my name is Christiana Rigby. I have the honor of representing District 3, but I also had the honor of being able to support this project. I agree with Senator Gazzoni. It was obvious to support to me. The alternative was surprising to me and disappointing, but there are so many supporters that are here, and so many people who had the fortitude grounded in their values and their connection to community to make this a reality. And it is a reality. Look at the ground. It's definitely not happening. So I really do want to express my appreciation for everyone here today, but especially advocates like Matthew Plants, Jorge Turkdal. Your words are essential. Mark Dunham, Private Enterprise Partners, thank you for helping to navigate through the wilderness. I mean, if you think about it, think about how it came together. How do you build a building? How do you finance a building? How do you do all of these steps that it takes? I see some nodding heads, so there's definitely some people who understand. The parents who have had this as a labor of love, Matt's parents, Debbie Klutz, Teresa Ballinger, Pam Beck, so many more. But your dedication and passion are what brought us to this moment today. I know we've heard that Patuxent Commons is a community-created project, but I hope that you understand how unique that is, and how steadfast, the fortitude it took to get from conception to today. Talk to one of these parents here, because they will tell you what it took. In 2017, I had my second child, and I also began my campaign for county council. And I knocked on about 11,000 doors. And there was one story that I heard over and over from dozens of parents. I heard their concerns, I heard their worries, and I heard their hopes for their children for the future. And that's why I'm so ride or die for this project. I mean, those stories, they live in my head, they live with me. They are in the Banneker room when I am making decisions. And so it takes parents and self-advocates sharing those stories so that people understand how essential and how important this is. We have been in a housing crisis, we are in a housing crisis, and it will take efforts, dedicated efforts like this over and over, to repeat it over and over to get us out of this housing crisis. But everybody here, everybody that you just looked at, everybody that you read on the back, is working to solve it. And I think if we keep working together, we're gonna make a lot more progress. So thank you for being my partners in progress. It is really exciting to be here today. I can't tell you the smile I woke up with on my face this morning, because I knew that this is what I was coming to. So thank you everybody for making this possible. It's a dream come true.
Super. John Brennan is here from the Department of Disabilities, where he's Assistant Secretary for Operations, on behalf of Secretary Carol Beatty. Carol is also one of those ride or die folks, and she couldn't be here with us today, but we're really happy to have John. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to join this special event and share some brief thoughts about the importance of this community. As Mark said, I'm John Brennan. I'm the Assistant Secretary of Operations here at the Maryland Department of Disabilities, joined by Assistant Secretary Kim McKay, who I know many of you know and have worked with, including on this project. I bring the warmest greetings and congratulations from the Moore Miller administration, Secretary Carol Beatty, and all of your friends at the Maryland Department of Disabilities. As Mark said, Secretary Beatty wanted to be here. She was unable to attend because of the change in schedule, but she wanted me to express her heartfelt congratulations to all of you on making this project come to fruition. The Maryland Department of Disabilities is proud to and excited to join with many partners to see this new and innovative community move forward. We are keenly aware at the Department of Disabilities of the shortage in affordable and accessible housing. It's the number one concern that we get from constituents. I lead the policy team that works on housing, and I understand how complex these projects are and how much it takes to get them off the ground. And so Patuxent Commons and all of the people who've made it possible should be commended for helping to ensure that we're going to leave no Marylander behind by promoting equality of opportunity, access, and choice for Marylanders with disabilities. As you all are aware, it takes many partners and supporters to bring these ideas to fruition, and I'd like to thank some of those. First, I'd like to thank the committed and creative individuals, families, and friends who continued forward with an energy and enthusiasm that catalyzed everyone here and never dims. Thank you to the Autism Society of Maryland for your perseverance. To the development team, Mark Dunham, Kindred Strategies, Mission First Housing, and the Howard County Housing Commission, we thank you for your leadership. For all the state and local entities who are here today and took part in this, especially our sister agency, the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development, all of our esteemed elected officials who are here today. And thanks to the Federal Low-Income Housing Tax Credit Program and all the private sector lenders, equity investors, professionals who partner to make this type of housing a reality. So today we break ground on an inclusive 76-unit community, knowing that people with disabilities, seniors, and families will shortly be able to call it home. Their homes will be affordable, close to work, and friends and family. in an environment that is welcoming and fosters independence and builds community for all. So thank you for being risk takers, change makers, and for embracing ways of looking at community and neighbor that are innovative and special. And I think this will serve as a national model. And again, congratulations to all of you, and enjoy the event.
Got very little else to say. You've heard plenty from me, except to tell you that we have the best development partner imaginable for this concept. This is really Mission First project. They've taken an idea from the Autism Society, and they put the guts and the money and the expertise necessary behind it to bring it to fruition. Truly, we wouldn't be here today, obviously, without the developer and the builders who are making all this happen. And we could not be more blessed than to have Sarah Constant from Mission First as our partner, and Elizabeth Everhart, the project manager. Where is Elizabeth? Hiding in the back. Before any of you leave today, you got to go by and give Elizabeth a hug. Sorry, I just basically hooked you up with a lot of strangers probably, but truly, I it's a moment of personal privilege there. She's already getting hugs back there. They have taught us so much. They have taken this idea and they're bringing it to full flower. So thank you. And Sarah, it's yours from here.
What a great day to celebrate the groundbreaking of Patuxent Commons. Thank you all for being part of this day. In November of 2018, the Housing Task Force of Autism Society of Maryland issued an RFP for a developer. And we responded and were selected to be the developer. And were sent out to go find a site. Now, the prospectus which they shared with us envisioned an intentional community of people with disabilities, families, and older adults, a mix of incomes, including very low income and market rate housing, an ideal number of units, 76, and a location near public transportation and shopping. And we got to work and found this site. And now, 5.5 short years later, here we are breaking ground. We did it. We are so appreciative of the vision, leadership, and advocacy of the task force. Every planning meeting, every community hearing, it wasn't 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, but it was 20, 25, 30 people who came out to speak in support of this project. Thank you for your many hours of commitment to making this happen. Well, I want to recognize several of our partners. I want to start with 2 of the most important. Mark Dunham, who worked so hard to balance the challenges of affordable housing development with the vision of the task force. Every time we would push the edge a little bit and say, really, it would be easier if we could do it this way. Mark made sure that we kept with the vision of the Autism Society. He was our guiding light and just brilliant through the whole process. So thank you, Mark, for everything. I also want to recognize the woman who championed this for Mission First. Now, many of you may not know, but right after we were selected to be the RFP, Elizabeth's husband got a job in Paris, France. So Elizabeth was working in Paris. Now, fortunately, COVID hit and everybody went remote in the world that we were living in. And Elizabeth managed this project seamlessly. Most people had no idea that she was in Paris, France. The challenge was that many of our community meetings were at 7 and 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night, which was 11, 12, 1. So Elizabeth had many literal sleepless nights out there working on this project. She worked to assemble not less than 14 sources of financing and navigated through a myriad of land use approvals and every other hiccup that you could have along the way. So I thank you, Elizabeth, because even when I was struggling, you never lost faith and you never lost hope that we would be here today to celebrate this. Some might say it takes a village, but to me, this took a galaxy. We had so many who stepped up and understood what we were trying to do here. I want to recognize the design team at Mosley, Michael Blake, Kendall Schrader, David Plent. I know they're here. They've done a lot of work. We had a lot of community input. Our construction team at Harkins, Mark Callahan, Craig Stevens, Peter Schaff, Kristen Fritz, Jeff Mallow. I know there are more here. I was joking that I thought they shut their office down today because there are so many who are out, so thank you for being here. Your commitment. Our civil engineer, Gutschik, Little, and Weber, Todd Redden and Bill Greninger. You guys are out there, I know. Thank you all. Our land use attorney, Bill Erskine at Offit Kerman. Our financing attorneys, Eric Herman at Klein Hornig. Kevin Callahan, brother of Mark, you can kind of see the resemblance out there at Carney Callahan, our title attorney, and our construction management team at JDC, and the people along the way who stepped in and gave us guidance. I see Diane Dressler. I'm just so grateful for all of you who stepped in and helped us along the way. And finally, I want to offer a special thanks to Debbie Klutz, who spearheaded our outreach in this Hickory Ridge community and was instrumental in our efforts to obtain project approval. Thank you. Thank you. 14 financing sources, 14. Given that we have concrete trucks waiting to go back to work, I guess it's good we were rained out and a few folks couldn't make it today, or we might be here a little longer. But I am really grateful for those financing partners who are part of this. From HUD, we have Stephen Sprecher. I think Stephen was going to be here. Yeah, there he is. Thank you. He was key to our mortgage financing. And from Howard County, DHCD, Kelly Semino and her staff, every time, always answered our calls, always when we were feeling stuck, always offered up new ideas, and always helped us navigate the work through the county. Thank you, Kelly, for everything you did. We also want to recognize Capital One, JP Morgan Chase, and the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development for their financing and their work on this project. I do really want to thank the Howard County Housing Commission, who was our development partner, supporting our land use, offering rental subsidies. We are so grateful for your partnership. Thank Peter, Engel, Alistair, and I'm honored to introduce Sam Paul, Director of Administration with the commission.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you all for being here today. On behalf of our board chair, Jackie West Spencer, our executive director, Peter Engel, our director of development, Alistair Smith, and all of us at the Howard County Housing Commission, I am happy. I am happy because today we celebrate. And we don't just celebrate a new building, we celebrate a new chapter in the Howard County story. A chapter about compassion, a chapter about community, a chapter about hope. Quality, inclusive, affordable homes are as vital to a thriving community as roads, bridges, parks, schools, and hospitals. Housing is infrastructure. It is very hard today to pick up a newspaper and not see something about the housing crisis that is plaguing our country. It is a daily reality that we at the Housing Commission confront. And I can tell you from experience that it takes strong, bold collaboration to take that challenge head on. Patuxent Commons is a perfect example of that strong, bold dedication and collaboration that we need in this crisis. The Housing Commission thanks and congratulates the many partners that made this project possible. The Autism Society of Maryland, the United States of America, the State of Maryland, Howard County, Maryland, Capital One, JP Morgan Chase, Enterprise, the Harry and Jeanette Weinberg Foundation, Mission First Housing Group, Kindred Strategies, Mosley Architects, Harkins Builders, and the list goes on and on. In addition to building 76 sorely needed homes, I hope that what we've accomplished here together inspires the next generation of affordable housing practitioners. Because one day, the torch will be passed to you. The fate of our mission will rest in your hands. And I hope that you will do more things like this, because things like this are what makes me happy. Thank you all and congratulations.
It seemed only fitting that given the nature of this development, a very intentional community, that we work with Enterprise, who is locally based here in Howard County. As our tax credit investor, Enterprise provided over $16 million in equity to the development, and I'm pleased to introduce Leanna Patuxent, Senior Vice President.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Sarah. I am really pleased to be here today. I couldn't think of a better morning to spend here with you all. I'm actually serving a bit of a dual role. So I am representing Enterprise Community Investment, which is the tax credit partner with Mission First in Howard County on this tremendous investment. We're really proud to be investing in this property because it is in our backyard in Columbia. And I think it was Jessica who mentioned, Jim Rouse's vision and, the strive for diversity in this community. And I'm really happy to see that those innovations keep coming and these properties keep being developed, and really to see all of you here and hear everyone that has been part of this project. I've been doing this for a while and I've never had this kind of energy at groundbreaking before, and seen so many people that can't sit in the seats. So I think that's really a testament to Columbia and everyone involved here, and your commitment to to the community. I'm also a new board member for Mission First, relatively new. So. And part of that, I do want to mention, so this is Enterprise's 11th investment with Mission First. We've partnered with Mission First for more than a decade. It's our third investment with Howard County Housing Commission. We're partners that are dedicated to these firms that are mission aligned, as Enterprise is. And I'm inspired by this project and hearing from every one of you, and just want to share that this is exactly the reason why I was really honored to be thought to be pulled onto the board of Mission First, as it's really shows the commitment of this organization and the kinds of projects and innovations you're planning and dedicating yourselves to. So that's all I wanted to say, and thank you. Congratulations to everyone here. Really can't wait to drive around as I go to headquarters over there and stop in and see how things are going along, and see the first residents that move into this property. Really looking forward to that. Thank you.
The Weinberg Foundation provided a grant to the project, reflecting the foundation's priorities on housing, adults with disabilities, and older adults, and serving people in poverty. We are so appreciative of their support, and I'm really pleased to introduce Amy Klein, Senior Program Director.
Good morning. I know I'm last and this is long, and I was late because I was attending the 30th anniversary of Homes for America, another nonprofit housing developer. And I wrote my comments, so I might be repetitive, but indulge me. So I bring greetings and congratulations from the president and trustees of the Weinberg Foundation. We are a proud partner, supporter of the Patuxent Commons project, and our partnership actually began with a $25,000 planning grant to the Howard County Autism Society in 2017. And at that time, it was actually rare for us to provide planning grants, but the vision for what this project could be resonated strongly with us. I looked back in our grants management system and saw the project title, to support planning of an inclusive intergenerational housing development for individuals with autism spectrum disorder and other disabilities, older adults, and families in Howard County. And here we are, 7 years later, breaking ground on the community. I've had the privilege of working with this development team over the past several years to reach this point. So in addition to that planning grant, the foundation approved a capital grant for $1.25 million in November 2022, 2 years ago. Because this project is well aligned with the foundation's priorities to create housing opportunities for older adults and persons with disabilities. I recall when the grant was approved, there was the hope that the building would be completed by the end of this year, but this is hard work, as everybody had said, and it takes a long time to put the pieces in place. And I really want to acknowledge all those who worked so tirelessly to make it happen. I know there were a lot of challenges, and I'm just so incredibly impressed with this team. Also, I wanted to mention the level of community engagement to secure approvals was incredibly impressive. I don't think I've seen anything like it. And we know that this project is already a national model, even before shovels go into the ground. So on a more personal note, there is particular significance to this project being built in Columbia. You don't know me, so you may or may not be surprised to learn I have a deep connection to Columbia by way of marriage. My husband moved here in 1968 and was one of the first 100 or so families to live in the newly planned community. He was 9 years old, and his father moved here to work for Jim Rouse as head of personnel. His family had moved around to several cities before settling here and then remained here where he was raised. Fun fact, he went to homecoming at Wild Lake High School with Laura Lippman. Jeff went on to work for and then own Bun Penny. I wish you were here. Which was a local institution until market pressures forced its closure in 2008. Some of you probably have fond memories of Bun Penny. I'll also mention that his mother, Mary, spent the last 6 months of her life across the street at Lorien, where she passed away 2 years ago. So with all of this, I was thinking about Jim Rouse's vision, which has been mentioned, for an inclusive Columbia, and how this very project embodies that vision. This is a place where people with different abilities, ages, backgrounds, and incomes will join together to form a new community. In 1967, when Wild Lake was dedicated, Rouse remarked that he hoped Columbia would never be finished, that the community would continue to develop. And indeed, this is part of that continued development. There are stories yet to be told, friendships yet to be formed. The residents of Patuxent Commons don't know yet how lucky they will be to live here. We are grateful for being included in this journey and can't wait to come back when the doors open. Thank you.
We're going to now proceed to the formal breaking of the ground, and I'm going to invite our speakers and dignitaries to come back. And we want to just a huge thank you to everybody who joined us together. We look forward to seeing you in a little over a year when we begin to cut the ribbon on the property. So thank you all for being here. And, we're done.